I'm going to give you guys three essential questions that you should be asking yourself every single night if you want to self improve. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What's up, you guys? My name is Tochi. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome to the channel, Just Tochi, a self-improvement channel. I have been doing this 3-question nightly routine before I go to bed every single night, and I feel because of it, I've been progressing as a person and self-improving to the point that I didn't think I'd get to this day. So I want to give you guys those 3 same questions that you guys should be asking yourself to ensure that you're not only becoming a better person, but also becoming happier as a result. Question number 1, am I going to bed happy today? This is something that I found pretty powerful myself, and when I started asking myself this question, I started noticing little small things that I didn't even recognize that were in my conscious level were making me very unhappy. And a lot of those things were just very small things, but sometimes they were really big things. But I found that if I don't ask myself that question that night, then whatever feelings that I have for that particular issue are going to snowball into the next day. And then whatever stressors and unhappiness and whatever feelings that you start garnering in that next day just add to the next problem that you were carrying on the previous day. So you should be asking yourself this question in order to give yourself the chance to figure out, how am I going to deal with this issue, or how am I going to reconcile this issue before I go to bed, because I don't want to carry this stress and feeling into the next day and potentiate it for it to get worse. Really take the time, whether it's an hour and a half before bed, and just think about these things, because you really want to eliminate those feelings before you go into the next day and have it potentially get worse. Question number 2, did I set out and accomplish all the goals that I had out for myself today? Now, I want you guys to ask yourself this question, not to make you feel bad because you haven't accomplished all the goals that you had set out for that day, because life happens, things happen, and we can't set out to finish every single thing. But I ask you guys to ask yourself this because you want to figure out, okay, if I have this goal that I wasn't able to figure out today, how am I going to accomplish it tomorrow or the days to come? What system do I have in place to ensure that happens? That's how I feel oftentimes stress starts to build, is when we have goals, we have things that need to be done that aren't completed on the day that they're done. And because of that, it starts carrying over to the next day. And then the goals that we have on that day start snowballing with that previous day. All of a sudden, you feel overwhelmed. And then all of a sudden, you're like, how am I going to get through this? And things just start stacking on top of each other. So you really want to not only ask yourself, did you finish that goal for yourself through that day? But if not, how am I going to make sure that I finish the next day or the days to come, so I don't feel like I'm starting to get overwhelmed? When I asked myself this question, I was able to figure out, okay, I didn't finish this, I didn't finish that. What am I going to do tomorrow to not just complete it tomorrow, but to ensure that it gets that much closer to finishing? When you actually map things out for yourself and you feel like you have like a clear roadway to finishing that goal, you're going to feel that much less stressed when you're trying to actually finish that goal, as opposed to if you didn't talk about it and then you go into the next day already overwhelmed by these new goals or old goals that you had for the previous day with the new goals that you have for that day. Now, the last and final question is, did I spend time with myself today? This is something that I found I oftentimes wasn't really doing that well. I thought that I was spending time with myself when I was watching TV, when I was scrolling, when I was back on social media back in the day, when I was talking to friends. And I found oftentimes that we don't ever really take like a good solid like hour, hour and a half, maybe even just 30 minutes of just spending time with ourselves, whether it's journaling, whether it's writing, whether it's listening to music, and just sit there without the distractions of the world. There's so many things in the world that can distract us, so many things that can take us off of our purpose, so many things that can make us consumed with things other than ourselves. And I really want you guys to make sure that you're actually taking the time to think, how am I actually doing today? How am I actually feeling today? And you're actually taking the time to like, I'm just going to turn off my phone, silence my phone, get away from this distraction, get away from my computer, my laptop, my iPad, whatever, and just spend time and just think about myself. You need those moments to actually reflect to see how you're doing, because there's so many things that can distract you. And if you're not actually taking that time to focus on you, you are your biggest advocate. You are your biggest cheerleader. You have to be your biggest cheerleader, honestly. And if you're not, who else do you expect to stand up for you when you can't stand up for yourself? Those are 3 questions that I ask nightly before I go to bed to ensure that I'm actually doing well myself, that I'm actually accomplishing the things that I need to accomplish, and that I'm not carrying over stress or anger or any negative feeling the next day. And when I get to that next day, that next morning, I don't feel burdened by the previous day because I've already dealt with it the night before. So if you guys want more advice like this or more things that you want to talk about, leave a comment section down below, like the video, and subscribe. I will see you guys later. Peace, and Tochi signing out.